Hi, I'm Candace. I am a visual designer based currently in Ventura, California. I was born in Oregon, moved to North Carolina, and then moved to Florida before I came to school to study graphic design in California at Chapman University. Both my parents were creative, very visual people. I feel like I knew for a long time that I wanted to do art as a career. I thought about being a veterinarian, but then my parents told me that I had to put animals down, and I knew that wasn't going to work. Yeah, I started graphic design class in high school. I think it did about 2 years. Graphic design is usually, and nowadays, very computer heavy, whereas like the portfolio I had to submit was fine art heavy, looking at like pottery, painting, drawing, all of that. And so my degree, which is the program at Chapman, was very fine art foundational, which I feel like helps me now see the art of design in the like principles and other things like unity and balance and how to look at things and make sure that it's all working. Now after graduating and being a designer, by title for 10 years, that hurts to say. I've had to wear many hats. Have usually only been the sole designer on a team that's marketing focused, helping with strategy along with doing the actual production design work, which I really enjoy, and I look forward to taking some of that production knowledge and moving into like being a design leader in the future. I have a lot of feelings in general, also about design. I feel like where I'm at right now, it's a little bit hard to be in a design career. I've always felt that design is often misunderstood. A big part of my role has been trying to make executives, stakeholders, shareholders, other members of like larger organizations understand what design is. And it really takes me back to, her name was Mrs. Lesher. And I don't remember what grade, but I distinctly remember her telling me that I was never going to be in a creative career. So whether I got here because she told me I wasn't going to be able to do it, or because, I did follow that passion, which I think is, probably a combination of both. But design, I think for so long, for some people, maybe most people, has been like, oh, you know how to make something look pretty. Well, that's like one aspect of it. There's so much about communication and like a responsibility that I think we have as designers to make sure that certain messages, communication is accessible and understandable and digestible. And I think that that's one of my favorite things about what I do. So now I'm on a little bit more of a path to take that and merge it with accessibility and communication. Yeah, I have been fortunate to do some really cool projects. I've always had a full-time job, website design, branding, email campaign design, postcards, note cards, internal assets, app design. But the freelance jobs have been able to give me a little bit more of that creative freedom and allow my style to come out. I had a realtor approach me, and she wanted to do custom cards for her clients. So that's something where I got to add a little bit of my love for the outdoors and of like Ventura County and native species of plants and what's going on in our community, and do some illustration work for these custom cards of hers. I feel lucky to, be able to pair with an organization downtown that helps with signage. So I've been able to do the signage for downtown Ventura. Almost everything in the world, for the most part, needs visual design because nothing's invisible. That totally makes sense. But yeah, so like everything I've done is really this huge breadth of work. It's tough to like focus on one thing, but I think continuing education is really important. And recently completed the Google UX certificate. I felt like this whole other like new knowledge that's touching on what I've already learned and what I've been practicing for the last 10 years, but also being able to frame it a little bit differently. I have a niece who has a genetic disorder. It's also been kind of an eye-opening thing for my family to like understand what she's going through, what she sees, what she hears, how she speaks. And that was something that was really big in this certificate program, was understanding accessibility and others. How that intersected with design had never really occurred to me until, I was kind of going through this program. And so when I think about the projects that I want to do in the future, I really lean in towards user experience, understanding a person's experience in the world and how what we have the responsibility as designers, like what that responsibility means and the things that we create for other people. I also have a really big heart for animals and like conservation efforts, and love being outside. And I hope that, that can kind of be a part of my day-to-day in the future. And how can I be creating something that either educates people on why we need to save our planet, or create like ideas for more sustainable solutions. When you're you're the designer and you're designing a mug, like what mugs are you presenting to this client, and is the company that you're sourcing this mug from, what do they stand for, and how do we make better decisions on the things that we create and purchase and source in order to like move that vision forward. I've lived away from my family since I was 18, and now I'm 32. I don't know. I turned 32 in a couple weeks. But like I've had to find community in order to just keep lifting myself up, find others that I want to lift up or that I think are doing a really cool thing and that I want to see them keep doing. I don't think I realized how much community meant to me until, the last couple years of my life, where things just took a big turn. And I just needed people, and I didn't have anybody. So I just had to create my own, essentially. So community for me really started when I founded a local organization called Ventura Joggers Club. And my first jog, I had 14 people. And then we had about a year before COVID happened and things started to look different. I did an event online through using, I think, Instagram Live or something like that, where I did a jog in place. I do not recommend it. Hurts your calves really bad if you jog in place for like 30 minutes. But what has come out of the Joggers Club, and we've done events like boxing, have local yoga instructors who will come and teach in the park, or at VCBC, Ventura Coast Brewing Company. They've been a huge partner with us in the past. So many people have connected or like said to me that they feel comfortable because I've done a lot of work to try to create a really diverse space, which can be hard living in the area that we live in. But it really is about making sure that even, I mean, I don't even like to run. And so that's like, every time I say that, people are like, but you started a joggers club. And I'm like, yeah, but we do yoga and hike. And when you just run with people, you're like, okay, I'm just, 2 miles, 2.5 miles. It's not about competition. It's not about, what does my body look like that the other people's bodies look like, comparing yourself. It's really like, hey, I'm going to show up. I'm going to meet some new people. I'm going to do something that maybe puts me out of my comfort zone. And then I get to have a beer afterwards, or, if you don't drink beer, something else. I loved that community so much. And right now it's a little bit in a transition period, because I get a lot of people who still ask me like, oh, when are you planning another event? But I'm working on something, transitioning it, and we'll see where that goes. But one thing I loved about that is the community. I realized that once I didn't have it anymore. Life happens, things change, and I was lucky enough to also see that 101 Creative was starting up, and fell into this other community that focuses on another aspect of my life that I also look forward, into the future to, and getting to connect with people and know that there are other people who are like understanding what you're doing. It just always feels so good. And you can like talk about, clients, or, what the new thing is happening in Illustrator or Photoshop, or, why Adobe didn't buy Figma. All the super fun topics that nobody else wants to hear about or knows anything about. So it's great.